great way. King Charles showed how tough he was when he spurned his rogue son Harry. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel. I am wishing you a lovely start to the week, and it seems like I somehow managed to miss out on some news about Harry and Meghan over the weekend. So they showed up together at Kevin Costner's event, and from what I saw, this time it seems like another big failure for Meghan and Harry. But I'm going to have to think, and I'm going to have to learn a little bit more, and I'm going to have to convey it to you in the next video, so please be patient with me. But don't worry, my friends, because I've got some equally great news to bring to you. Prince Harry apparently is now expected to give notice if he wants to be able to visit his father, King Charles, and he has also been denied a room at Windsor Castle during a recent trip. So Harry came to London for the Well-Child Awards at the beginning of the month, and he asked if he could stay at Windsor. And it is thought that Harry planned to stay at Windsor so that he could visit the Queen's resting place at St. George's Chapel the day after. But they denied his request because they said that no properties were free on such short notice. And it's also believed that Buckingham Palace told Harry that he would need to put in a formal request to see his father during the visit. And a source has remarked quite accurately that Harry wanted all the glamour and all the benefits of being royal, but he didn't want to have to worry about any of the responsibilities that went along with it. Well, of course, it was never going to work that way. It's about time to reduce the amenities, not only for Prince Harry, but for really everybody in the royal family who have decided to play an active part and forget their royal duties. Reportedly, though, Harry's wanting food, he's wanting a place to stay, security, and even staff, and probably use of vehicles as well. And in this case, his family weren't around and accommodation was either secured or it was being cleaned. Now, this situation is not the same if our kids were to show up and want a room to stay in. It's completely different. It would be a little bit like expecting to just show up and get to stay at a 5-star hotel for free. I mean, what, is Harry going to waltz into the Ritz-Carlton and expect them to offer him a room and all services for free? What a wise decision by King Charles. Bravo, King. The problem with Harry and Meghan is they never come alone to visit the family. They've always got Netflix following behind them. They're always just looking for some more stories about Harry's family that they can sell. So if you ask me, it is better if they stay far, far away. Another thing it seems like Harry doesn't understand, even though he should understand better than anybody, is the palace has to be warned in advance so they can get ready, so that they can make sure the place is staffed, they've got the kitchens taken care of, the chef, and security, of course. All kinds of organization has to happen. So for Harry to believe that he can just drop by is incredibly disrespectful and also kind of dumb. Now sure, in the old days, every single royal residence out there had a full staff all the time, but you cannot just walk up at the last minute and expect people to be available to wait on you hand and foot in this day and age. It's not practical, and it's also rude. Harry has also destroyed all trust with his father and brother, so they're completely right to limit him from visiting on his own when they're not around. I mean, who knows what he'd get up to? After the boys lost their mother, William and Harry became very close, and it seemed like William was very protective of Harry. So it truly is heart-wrenching to see how their relationship has completely fallen apart now. It's almost like their close relationship never actually existed. I think William, though, was very lucky. He had his relationship with Catherine's family, and with their love and support, it seems like he really has grown into this amazing family man, so strong, so admirable. And seriously, what else could King Charles have done, considering all Harry has done to hurt his own family? Not to mention the fact that it was Harry himself who decided to walk away from his royal duties. I find it shocking that he would even ask to stay in one of the royal residences after everything that has happened. I mean, if this is true, that just goes to show that Harry has absolutely no shame. The things he shared with the world are so intimate, so private, his family can never trust him again. So I think he's going to end up incredibly lonely, and his invisible kids, if they're real, are going to miss out on having an amazing family. Maybe Harry needs to be reminded that nobody's perfect, including himself and Meghan. He cannot expect to just go back and forth from the USA to the UK and expect to get to stay places for free. I mean, Harry, you have made your bed, so now it really is time for you to lie in it, and your bed is not located inside any of the royal residences. Even in my family, it's common courtesy to let somebody know that you're going to visit before you come. And for the kind of arrangements that Harry demands, I can understand why they would need a lot of advance notice. Aside from everything else, considering how Harry invades everybody's privacy, considering how he prints private texts and conversations, I can understand how the royal family may want notice so that they can make sure anything sensitive is carefully hidden away and they can have the opportunity to stay away from him. But I don't feel any sympathy for Harry because these problems are all of his own making. All right, so now that we're on the topic of King Charles trying to be tough towards Harry, recently I made a video about Charles giving a painful punch to Harry and Meghan's request for protection. So let's talk about some of your comments right now. First up, an on-the-nose comment from Terry Trammell. Actually, since Meghan calls the photographers, I don't understand why she complains about the photographers showing up. You've made a very good point, Terry, but I think you also know the answer to your question. Just think about it. If Meghan calls them up and gets her photo taken, and then she also complains about it, well, that means she gets even more attention. Pathetic, desperate, absolutely. But then again, this is Meghan Markle we're talking about. And then Susan Harris basically says the same thing. She doesn't want anyone to know she is the one to call them. She tries to play it off. Diana used to do the same thing. She called them all the time and tipped them off and then pretended she didn't want them there. And then Terry says, absolutely. You're right, Susan. Diana knew how to play that media game and she knew how to play it well. To be fair, I think she was a little better at it than Meghan is, but you're right. Meghan does the same thing. Now, this is one of the only things they have in common, but I gotta admit, they do have that in common. And I also really like this description of Meghan from Denise. Denise says, she is in league with the devil. All the chaos and unhappiness she causes anyone who crosses her path is truly unnatural for any person with conscience and a healthy mind. She doesn't know what remorse is for bad deeds done. She relishes others' misery. I think you're right, Denise. That woman is evil to the core. And you're right that she really does love seeing other people unhappy. It is so sick and twisted. Thanks for your very accurate description, Denise. And then Teresa Ritchie agree they seem to think making people's lives a misery somehow makes them important. Saddos. If the King of UK can stroll alone, no security, no minders, the Harkles can too. After all, the Harkles aren't even royal. At their own request, they left. A title does not make a royal. It takes more than a title to be a royal, and they don't have it. Ooh, Teresa, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Thanks for sharing. And next comment is from Susan Harris. Susan says, just like a true psychopath, she doesn't feel emotion or guilt like normal people do. She has to create chaos and drama in order to feel anything, and revels in other people's downfall. She does seem to feel hate and jealousy toward Princess Catherine because she has a higher rank than her, and she's the future queen. Meg can't handle that emotionally. You're right, Susan. I mean, honestly, I think any psychiatrist out there would have a field day with that one. I agree with you that Meghan clearly has something missing, something that we all have inside of us, something that makes us human. I don't know if she's a psychopath, if she's a narcissist, sociopath, or just all of it, but there really is something seriously off about her. And then it looks like Babblemaker's trying to figure out this whole puzzle too. Babblemaker says, I'm no expert, but I heard somewhere that sadist is someone who enjoys hurting others. Thank you for your comment, Babblemaker. You're right. She really does enjoy seeing other people in pain. Now, does that make her a sadist, a sociopath? Again, I don't know, but she's something. And I also like this comment from Babblemaker in response to Susan. It's crazy. Meghan has no reason to think she should be queen. She isn't even willing or able to act royal. Besides that, Catherine deserves to be queen when the time comes, and she's genuinely wonderful influence. She's a princess to be proud of for sure. I agree wholeheartedly. Next comment I gotta share because it discusses whether or not it's even possible for Meghan to be a mother. So Mai Tai says Meghan Markle had her hysterectomy when she was either 28 or 29. Allegedly, she froze her eggs prior to that. Possible if kids are real, then old eggs could have been used and implanted in a surrogate. Of course, eggs would have been fertilized by Henry, which, if true, the use of a surrogate times 2, then the 2 children need to lose their titles and be removed from the line of succession. I have also heard so much about this hysterectomy. Honestly, I believe it. Now, could she have frozen her eggs? Maybe, but even so, I agree with you, it doesn't matter. Because no matter what, there's no way those children were born from her body. Thank you very much for this interesting comment, Mai Tai. And then Teresa comments under that, Teresa's not even sure that she froze her eggs. She says no proof of frozen eggs as she never planned on children. Could be. And then we got Rough Pup weighing in, ditto, and why weren't they used with Trevor? Allegedly, they were trying and she couldn't get pregnant. So in my opinion, fool him too. She tries to fool everybody. It's an interesting discussion for sure though, so thanks everybody for weighing in. Next comment comes from Lee Lyle. Lee says, I loved the interaction the mountain bikers had with King Charles. At the start of the encounter, the cyclists were overtaken by Land Rovers and they saw this lonely figure ambling along the road. One of them is heard to say, I wonder if we will meet a minor royal down here. King Charles heard this remark, so he stopped and waited for the cyclist to catch up with him. This is where we see him having a casual chat with them. One remarked, "Why didn't you go in a Land Rover?" King Charles replied simply, "Because I like walking." Yep, I'm warming to King Charles. Me too, Lee. I love this story. It really makes him seem like such a relatable guy, somebody you could just talk to, even though he is the king. I think King Charles has always been a bit quirky. We didn't know what kind of king he was going to turn out to be. But I think he understands the people a little better than maybe some gave him credit for. Thank you very much for sharing this, Lee. I like this comment from Aquarius too, because it's the way all of us feel. Aquarius says, "I'm happy to see the monarchy more popular than ever, in spite of the Harkles trying to destroy them." Amen. And then Summer, "This whole do the children exist or not is starting to get on my nerves. We need the proof." Me too, Summer. The whole thing is just getting absolutely ridiculous. If the kids are real, all right then, prove it. And if they're not, well, it looks like a couple of Montecito morons have got a lot of explaining to do. And then one more really good comment from Babblemaker. Babblemaker's on a roll today. "It doesn't seem that Harry is able to give a sincere apology. He acts as if he either has no clue to the truth or he is consciously concealing it. Either way, considering his reported betrayals, trusting any apology from him seems unwise." It is sad, isn't it, when you think about how young children, my 5-year-old grandson, for example, is a lot better at saying sorry and owning up to his mistakes than Harry, who is supposed to be a grown man. And like you said, I'm not sure if the problem is that Harry just doesn't understand that he should say sorry, that he really cannot see the reality of the situation, or maybe he's just trying to cover up something. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's obviously not working well for him. Okay, there's just one more comment I have to share with you all from Paula. "King Charles and his solo walks in Balmoral, where he talks to average citizens, is something he learned from his grandmother, the Queen Mum. It was very common of her to go on solo walks in the countryside, looking at flowers and talking to the average citizens. She had true non-royal friends. The common thread with many of these friends was their mutual love of flowers. She would often have share tea either at her residence or at their residence. They would share plant cuttings with each other. The Queen Mum always alone on her walks. Now, when she got older and needed a cane for mobility issues, her staff would discreetly follow in a car just in case she needed assistance." You are right. My farm animals don't pay for their awards. LOL. Matter of fact, the awards they win help me get a higher price when I sell. Also, I actually make money from the waste coming from their rear ends. LOL. A cow's waste is often referred to as gold. If chicken poop isn't dried properly, it can be used to clear out tree stumps. Ooh, I didn't know that. You have to be careful how much you use or it will be a really big boom. Like rattle windows. We have bat houses. Yes, you heard right, bat houses. You can make good money for bat poop. Paula, it sounds like you have an amazing little farm going on there. Please, anytime you leave a comment about Meghan and Harry, feel free to share some more tidbits about what you've got going on. It really just sounds like such an interesting operation. And thanks again for sharing that lovely story about the Queen Mom. You're right, that's exactly where Charles gets it. All right, so back to the main updates. Ever since they left the royal family, Harry and Meghan had such a perfect opportunity to make more than enough money to support themselves. But instead, they chose to waste it away on unnecessary and overpriced clothes, but they didn't honor the contracts that brought in the money, and that was their biggest problem. Meghan and Harry claimed they were going to live overseas, they were going to be financially independent, and they were not going to be working members of the British royal family anymore. So, with that in mind, because she contributes nothing to the duties undertaken by the royal family, why on earth would the king pay her a cent? I mean, if you choose to walk away from the family business, then you don't get to draw a salary anymore. If you ask me, Harry's the one who is financially responsible for Meghan, if anybody is. It's not her father-in-law. And I'm sure Harry is running out of money because she wastes it. And it's not like both of them have real jobs. Meghan thought that Harry was so rich, but the fact is he doesn't have that much compared to his brother. When Harry talked about how awful and how cruel it was for King Charles to cut him off financially when he was a fully grown man, that's when most people lost any respect they had for Harry. I mean, he's an adult. Everybody else has to figure out some way to support themselves, so why shouldn't Harry? Just remember what Harry said during that Oprah interview. He talked about his father cutting him off financially. So why would anybody be surprised to learn that Harry's father refused to take his phone calls because he knew Harry was just calling him to ask for more money? And this is probably one of the reasons that Harry is so obsessed with getting revenge on the monarchy. And the other big reason would be that he and Meghan should be sharing equally in the Duchy of Cornwall with William and Catherine, according to them, of course. And you, what do you think about this news? Please tell me your opinion below in the comment section. Don't be afraid to like and share my video with your friends and relatives who would enjoy it too. Please don't forget to subscribe to our The King YouTube channel to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely evening, and we'll be back to see you tomorrow. Bye. I love you all.